After a 3-year hiatus, we are back in Sebring in Florida, ready to start season 10 of the FIA World Endurance Championship. The doors thrown open for the fans, and everybody is thrilled to be back and to be racing in the States. There could not be a more fitting place to start the season, because this is where WEC began in 2012. The first ever race was here in Florida, and with a bumper grid packed full of talent, with new names and new teams to conjure with, the 10th season of the WEC looks like it will be the best ever. On pole in GTE AM, American Ben Keating 1.3 seconds clear of the rest of the field. A stunning lap. A big one from Michael Christensen too to put the Porsche on pole in GTE Pro. Corvette making their full season debut. Big lap from Nick Nielsen, not just the best car in LMP2, but he starts third overall ahead of half the hypercars. But our pole sitters are Alpine, and they will head the field away here in Sebring.
Take us that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of God.
Yes, everybody. A big round of applause and a flyover.
Start the formation lap for the 1,000 miles of Sebring. Formation lap. We have started the formation lap for the 1,000 miles of Sebring.
Leading the field to the flag is the Alpine from pole position, ready to get season 10 of the FIA World Endurance Championship underway. Old Glory waves, we are racing in Sebring. Mathieu Vazivière from pole being challenged by the Glickenhaus of Olivier Pla. But look around the outside in turn 1. Great start from the number 22 United Autosport LMP2 car from 5th place on the grid up to 2nd. Incredible reaction there from Philippe Albuquerque. He's up to 2nd, the Alpine running away in the lead. Glickenhaus and Toyota 3rd and 4th ahead of the LMP2 pole sitter. We're coming round the pole sitter from LMP2 with the number 7 Toyota, using their hybrid power to out-accelerate the LMP2 cars. But a great start from United Autosports, the champions 2 seasons ago. On board with the number 8 Toyota, and look at the immediate speed of the LMP2 car. The Toyota drivers can't believe it as they just get blown away at the start. And from the view of the Glickenhaus, there goes the P2 car as well. Yellow and blue, that is Team Penske, Roger Penske's team in World Endurance Championship racing for the first time. Down the inside of 31, the WRT car, last year's champions. Great start from Felipe Nasser. Back up into second place goes the Glickenhaus of Olivier Pla, putting the LMP2 car down to third place. It still leads its class, though, the number 22 United Autosports car, and the Toyotas will surely be coming. GTE Am battle for the lead. Ben Keating in the bright blue Aston Martin. Behind him with a new livery, 98 Northwest AMR, that's Paul Dallalana. And in third place, the best of the Porsches, the Project 156 car just ahead of the 777 D-Station Aston. Battle of the Ferraris, 54 versus 21 and 71, all run by AF Corsa. 54 car of Thomas Floor, who celebrated his birthday the day before the race here in Florida. And behind them, yellow and blue, the 88 Dempsey Proton Porsche. Running away at the front of the field is the Alpine. Really important that Mathieu Vazivière distances himself from the other cars in the hypercar class. They've got a smaller fuel tank, they'll have to stop more often, so when they are on track they must go quicker, and they're doing that now. Olivier Pla in second, Sebastian Buemi starting to reel him in. There have been changes to the way that the Toyota harvests its power, and that has restricted their speed a bit here. In the GTE Pro class, it is a battle between Porsche and hang on a second. Porsche and Corvette. Corvette Racing coming to World Endurance Championship racing on a full season basis for the very first time in over a quarter of a century. Fantastic performance from Nick Tandy, and there is the driver of the 91 Porsche, Richard Lietz. Here's how they were at the start of the field. Now, the Porsches controlling the pace of the whole GT pack, but they dropped back further than they were supposed to from the LMP2 field, and the stewards are looking at that. There may be penalties coming their way, but they led at the start from the Corvette, and then the best of the GT Am cars ahead of the factory Ferraris. Early stages of the race, Alpine running away in control of the hypercar class, and United Autosports leading here and in third place in LMP2. Between them, well, the champions in GTE Am last year, AF Corsa's 83 machine, Nick Nielsen, his first ever LMP2 race, doing a great job. And there's been a change for the lead in GTE Am. Paul Dallalana getting ahead of poleman Ben Keating. Keating, one of a number of drivers in the field, doing double duty in the Sebring 12 hours the following day as well. And a classic Sebring move, Dallalana sending it deep down the inside into turn one. Race leader in traffic, the bright blue Alpine, Mathieu Vazivière. Always dangerous times. The leader is the first to start lapping other cars who are in their own battles, as you can see here in GTE Am. And it's also the very first time in the race, the first time in several months, that any of them will have been lapped. So it's really important that Mathieu Vazivière keeps his speed up but avoids drama. Porsche versus Corvette, really strong run early on from the Corvette team. Nick Tandy reporting to Corvette Racing that it seems that the Porsches have been struggling to warm up their tyres. Now, whether that was a reference to the fact that they were slower and lagging behind the prototype field at the start, or as the race has progressed. Contact, Jota and Ultimate. Ultimate, the red and white car, graduating from the European Le Mans Series, and trouble for the Jota car. Well, this is the Ultimate behind the 31 WRT, and around the outside it's the 38 Jota car. So that is Roberto Gonzalez, their gentleman driver, and Mathieu Lahaye in the Ultimate car. Oh, change for second in GTE Pro. The second yellow car on your screen is the Corvette ahead of the 91 Porsche. So Kevin Estre, Michael Christensen, former world champions, now reunited for the full season this year. Christensen was an occasional driver with the team last year. He was their third driver. They're leading, but Nick Tandy up to second. Mathieu Vazivière has carved his way through GTE Am. His next targets will be the GTE Pro field, but he's got a bit of clear air in front of him. Everything going according to plan so far for Alpine. Let's hear from his teammate Nico Lapierre.
It's great to see the pace Matt is having right now. The car is feeling good under these hot conditions. We just catch the traffic back now, so we can see that it's a bit tough in the traffic to overtake here. You always have to take a bit of risk, so it's going to be a long one. But so far, so good, I have to say.
First round of pit stops for LMP2. Here is our leader, Philippe Albuquerque, expected to be a 10-stint race in LMP2. And he's not alone. Prema coming in. There is the Penske team. Roger Penske on the pit box. The captain is here himself, mid-80s, and with the youth and exuberance of a 23-year-old. There is the 23 United car in from third place. And the whole field will have to stop for fuel as well. GTE Pro, Kevin Estre leading from Nick Tandy. Nick Tandy has spent a year now as a Corvette racer, but previously spent almost all his GT life in Porsche, so uniquely he knows everything about how the car in front of him handles, its weaknesses, its advantages. But his first time out here in the World Endurance Championship. Change in LMP2, United now 1-2, 23, jumping 83, the AF Corsa car in the pit stop. AF Corsa running an LMP2 car for the very first time. Nick Nielsen driving here with co-driver Alessio Rivera in their first ever prototype race. Leader in, door opens, Vaxivière out, Lapierre gets in. And that means for the first time in the USA, Glickenhaus is the leader.
Four laps to pit, 4 laps to pit.
I'm going to get speed 2 now.
Okay, 3 laps to go.
Interesting, so it sounds as though the Toyotas and the Glickenhaus will run the same distance on fuel and 4 laps longer, both of them, than the Alpine, and that sets out the ground rules here then. GTE Am, another all Aston Martin battle for second place now, and this is the D station car moving past Ben Keating, and that is a big move in the GTE Am class as the leaders go by. As the Toyota and the Glickenhaus pass this battle, watch the Ferrari tucks in behind them and gets by the Porsche. Into the pits comes the Glickenhaus then from the lead. Romain Dumas runs around with his seat insert. So he takes over from Olivier Plat. And it looks like 4 brand new tyres going on. They are determined to try and stay out front. The prototypes don't have enough tyre allocation for a fresh set at every stop. So they're clearly trying to build an early advantage over Toyota, who they may see as the main rival for glory here. In come the number 8 and the number 7, and that's the right order because that's where the pit boxes are. 8 ahead of the world champions, double world champions, the number 7 team. They've won the title for the last 2 seasons. The last ever in LMP1 and the first ever in Hypercar. Wiping the sweat away. Away we go. This is a searingly hot day, more than 30 degrees of air temperature, track temperature over 40, and the bumpiest racetrack on the planet. So while the Toyotas come back out, Alpine retakes the lead. It is a sweltering Sebring day as the Corvette racing team make their first World Championship pit stop. They previously raced for many years at Le Mans and in the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Series here in North America. And this is their first ever World Endurance Championship campaign. Michael Christensen belting in Kevin Estre. You can see Christensen has sweated right through his triple layer race suit. That's how hard these guys are working. And 15 seconds added to their next pit stop. That was because they held back too far behind the prototype field at the start. Both Porsches being penalised. Well, that is going to cost them in their battle with Corvette.
Let me know what one did and yeah, the situation.
Yeah, copy 91, same as us. We will have to serve a 15-second penalty before our next stop. So when you come in next time, we'll have to hold you 15 seconds. Both 91 and 92 for the start. I'll guide you when we...
Contact in the LMP2 field right ahead of the Alpine. The yellow and green into Europol car, Fabio Scherer, and Mathieu Lahaye gets nudged off in the ultimate car. Scherer, a late replacement for Alex Brundle, the seasoned driver at Inter Europol, who tested positive for COVID before the race.
There was a gap, so I went for it. I was next to it, and he still turned in, so I would say it's racing accident, because otherwise he would spun or I would spun if it would not be enough next to it. So I'm sorry for him, but I would call it racing accident, especially on a track like this, where you don't have a lot of space. It's even tighter.
Into the pits comes our race leader in LMP2. It's the number 23 from United Autosports, and 16-year-old Josh Pearson takes over. Has only just turned 16. This is his third ever LMP2 race. On board with Nick Tandy in the Corvette. Look at the Toyota in front. That's Kamui Kobayashi, the tail really wagging the dog there. The car's sliding all over the road. He has run out of rear tyre grip. And he is dropping back fast from the number 8 car as well. But if one Toyota's in trouble, chances are the other one is too. Well, that could be very good news for race leaders Alpine. More trouble for Inter Europol. This is Esteban Gutierrez, the Mexican, in his first race in a couple of seasons and his first time out in LMP2, and the car's ground to a halt. Race leader in the pits. Fuel going in, tyre men standing by. This is a really well-oiled machine, the Senior Tech operation. What is going on here with the Toyota? Diving in late, running out of front end and rear end grip, the number 7 car. Kamui Kobayashi fighting the TGR machine at both ends. This looks very uncomfortable. Some worried faces there. Kazuki Nakajima on the right-hand side, now one of the team bosses. Bizarrely, Kamui Kobayashi, as he gets out of the car, stops being the driver and becomes, again, the team principal. So he is a player manager here. Jose Maria Lopez gets into the number 7 car. Number 8 hits its marks. Driver change here as well. Out gets Sebastian Buemi, Brendan Hartley ready to take over. And these two world champions 3 seasons ago for Toyota. To start their campaign with a big result, but they are struggling. It's been a tough battle so far in GTEM, holding their heads well above water. The all-female crew, Iron Lynx, they are in 7th place right now.
I think it was an okay stint with what we have. Obviously, we're missing a bit of pace on the straight. It's quite clear. But I mean, we passed one of the Aston Martin, which was a good thing. They are super fast. So I mean, I did what I could. It got a bit tricky towards the end. The front was missing, the rear was starting to slide. But yeah, it's a pleasure to drive here.
Up to the 2-hour mark in Sebring, Nick Tandy hands over to Tommy Milner at Corvette Racing. The Corvette lying in between the Porsches and the Ferraris, but Porsche into the pits and they will have to serve their 15-second hold. One of the engineers running in there just to be stopped. And this is their penalty for holding the field back from the LMP cars and the hypercars at the beginning of the race. Fuel goes in, they can clean the screen, and then once the fuel is done, driver change and tyres can be done as well. Same for 92, their rivals at Corvette watching closely.
Just trying to see if they've taken tyres. Yeah, it was good fun, actually. It looks like potentially when the tyres are fresh, the Porsche's got a bit of an advantage, but come the end of the stint, I don't know if they were running kind of a different tyre strategy to us, but at the end of the stint, our car was really good and we managed to double the first set of tyres. Tommy's just gone back out on a fresh set. But yeah, it was good fun.
Good fun for Corvette. They now lead the race in GTE Pro on their full season World Endurance Championship debut. World Endurance Championship debut for another man. This is Frenchman Sébastien Ogier. Very inexperienced racing driver, just the 8 times World Rally Champion though. Very different discipline here, and with all the fast-moving machinery around him, that is going to be the real test of his mettle. Ogier really enjoying racing the car here though in Sebring. It's the bumps at Sebring that Ogier is relating to. Look at the 83 car there. That's 17 Sunset Bend. Into the pits, Glickenhaus, still very much in podium contention here. Little pushback as they pit ahead of the Ultimate LMP2 car. And a driver change. Ryan Briscoe taking over from Romain Dumas. Looking to take the battle to the leaders in Hypercar, Alpine and Toyota. Oh, that was close.
Actually, it was not an easy stint. It was very, very hot. Unfortunately, I had no water on the car, so I was struggling. Also, the rear tires were by far too high, so the second stint was difficult.
Sébastien Ogier in the #1 Richemille Racing Team car. Just getting a little dirt under his wheels for old time's sake. Right in front of the leader there, the Alpine. There is the Brains trusted Alpine. Race going well for them so far. Race not going too badly for Jota. They didn't qualify strongly. Oliver Rasmussen fresh into the car. Antonio Felix da Costa with new tyres, but on a double stint. So he goes by up to 7th place as his teammate brings himself up to speed for the first time in LMP2. Battle in GTE AM. This is the pole-sitting car, TF Sports Aston Martin #33 with Dempsey Proton's Porsche all over the back of it. Young Sebastian Priaulx in the Porsche, son of multiple World Touring Car champion and Ford GT racer Andy Priaulx, shares the car, incidentally, with Andy's old teammate Harry Tincknell. Talking of old teammates, Giancarlo Fisichella in the yellow Iron Lynx Ferrari, attacking Francesco Castellacci, with whom he spent the last 3 years racing that silver car, went outside, inside, sold the dummy, makes a great pass for 9th place. Wow, back in black and yellow and going well. He forces Castellacci to defend the inside. Giancarlo Fisichella then cuts back underneath his old teammate to take the place away. Yellow and blue Dane Cameron, the Team Penske livery. Penske joining the World Championship for the first time, and off in front of them, #1 Sébastien Ogier. Antonio Felix da Costa trying to put a place in on the Penske car. That's the #5 car in 6th position. They've put a lap on the #1 machine, or at least the #5 Penske car has. Oh, Felix da Costa kicking up the dirt now as he tries to get back past Ogier. Ogier will struggle for grip here because the tyres pick up all the dirt off the track. Oh, and trouble for Nick Leutwiler. Backs the 46 car into the barriers. Not hard, but enough to do some damage. And that team have had a really tough time. It was damaged in qualifying. It had to start from the pit lane. It didn't set a time. And now it's shedding bits as he races back to the pit lane. Trouble in LMP2 for Sean Gelael at WRT. Running out of road on the exit of 13. So easily done. That's why it's so bald out there. No major dramas. A little bit of a Code Brown moment as he runs out wide. And those tyres will have felt like they were coming very close, very quick. GT Pro leader in the pits. Rushing round is Kevin Esch to take over from teammate Michael Christensen. They are really relentless with the pressure, this duo. The Corvette was in front, has drifted back into 2nd place, but they're on a different tyre strategy. They and the Porsches are using different amounts of new tyres. It looks as though Corvette are trying to keep their powder dry, save more new tyres for later in the race. Race leader is in. And incidentally, Signatec, who run the Alpine, also running the #1 Richemille Racing Team car in LMP2. So those are actually run by the same team. And a problem for the 88 Porsche. Left rear puncture for Fred Paudad, the American driver. This is the final corner before the World Endurance pit lane, turn 16. And he's looped the car around, trying to get back into the pits. And now he's in the blind spot, can't see cars coming flat into that turn. He's going to have to rely on the team to try and get him back in. Oh, tried to stay on the inside, straddled the curb, spun the car. The thinking was good, but maybe he should have just been 100% inside the curb. Makes it safely back to the team.
My mistake was I tried to make it easy for the cars coming through 15, and I thought I'd just go over the curb, but then the car just spun around because I was obviously touching the bottom. And then that was a little tricky to get back in, I'll be honest with you, but glad it worked out okay. And yeah, it was a good experience overall. Too bad the tire went down, and I still have to finish 11 minutes of my required drive time, unfortunately. But yeah, the strategy didn't quite go our way today.
Strategy plays a big part in any endurance race, and Toyota are always very keen to maximize the potential of the cars. If you are faster than your teammate, they will wave you through, and that's exactly what happens here. Number 7, who's been closing on the lead number 8 car, gets to go through. They have to run absolutely flat out all the way to make advantage of their fuel advantage. They can't afford to be running slowly. Looks like the same happening here. Will Owen waving through the 23 United car, so that is a position change. Will Owen graduating with the team. Last time he raced, it was in the European Le Mans Series a couple of seasons ago. And next time we see Di Resta out, he will be a Peugeot hypercar driver.
Got to do like that. 5 to go after this. 5.
So Brendan Hartley heading towards the end of the stint, and again running longer, about 4 laps longer on fuel in every run than the Alpine that leads the race. There's Ryan Briscoe at Glickenhaus, having the drinks bottle topped up. This is very brutal work for the drivers. The heat and the violence of the racetrack inside these cars is absolutely second to none. Toyota carving through traffic. Number 7 starting to distance itself a fraction from the number 8 car, but you don't want to be drifting off into the dirt. There lies danger. Danger 2, trying to work your way through traffic, avoiding contact but not losing time and not waiting too long, and trouble. Number 7 is off. What's happened there? That's Jose Maria Lopez in the barriers, the race leader. Well, only a few laps out of the pits, it's contact with the 88 Dempsey Proton Porsche in traffic, nudged into a spin. That's Julian Andlauer in the Porsche and Jose Maria Lopez in the barriers. On board with Lopez. Well, he was in the middle of the road. Take a look. Here he goes. He's heading back to the pit lane. Lots of tyre rub there. Smoke coming off the front wheels, and Lopez is off again, and a huge accident. The car is over. A massive impact. Instant red flag. Well, all worries now for the Toyota team, not about the cars, not about the race, but about that man. Jose Maria Lopez is out of the car, and that is the only thing that anybody is concerned about. Well, this is down at turn 15, and the car just does not stop. It's not until the wheels are bouncing free of the ground that they actually stop rotating, so he had no braking. Listen. A short run into a very immovable barrier. Mike Conway, suited up, was ready to take over. There's Ryo Hirakawa, who'll take over the number 8 car. And Toyota, well, the good news is that Jose Maria Lopez is all right.
We've seen Jose getting out of the car. He immediately came on the radio, says, "I'm okay, I have no pain." So this is the good news. Then the racing scenes are what we see sometimes in the World Endurance Championship. Jose goes around on the outside with the yellow Porsche. He clips on the tail. If that was a misunderstanding between the two drivers, we have to look in more detail. But bottom line, it spun him around. Then the front end got a hit on the tire wall. Jose said, "Okay, the car is okay, I can continue." He then continued between turn 15 and 16. He accelerated, and it seemed that then the nose just came down because of the impact before. and then suddenly he couldn't steer, and we see him going straight into the tire wall, and then you see the rolling unfolding. So bottom line, thank God he's okay. The safety of the cars, the circuit worked all right. Of course, we lost the car, but we're happy that Jose is good.
Well, right now, Toyota leading from Alpine and Glickenhaus in LMP2 Prema, temporarily ahead of United Autosports on their debut in LMP2. In GTE Pro, Corvette Racing in this knife fight with the two Porsche GT cars. The Ferrari GT team are absolutely nowhere on pace. In fact, only one Ferrari is ahead of our GTE AM leader, the 98 Northwest AMR Aston, chased by TF Sport and Dempsey Proton. Barrier repairs will probably take several minutes, and so the teams will get ready to restart whenever the course is safe once more. Well, drivers take a temporary rest from the heat of the cockpit, but how does that affect the strategies?
It's great that we see Jose coming out of the car. It's not a crash that we like to see, and it's also not like this that we want to race against the Toyota. But for us, to be honest, it's looking good. So yeah, we keep continue like this and keep pushing.
Race is resumed behind the safety car. Race has been resumed behind the safety car.
After a lap of safety car, we are ready to go green flag racing once more. There's Jose Maria Lopez, released from the infield care centre. And the Alpine leading the field. Glickenhaus right behind. Between them, the Corvette GT Pro car. Green flag flies. Away we go. Lots of battles here. LMP2 cars going either side of the GT Ferrari, and immediately hammer down for the Glickenhaus. Andre Negrão leading in the Alpine, and Ryan Briscoe giving chase. This is the lead battle in GTE Pro. Kevin Estre all over the back of Tommy Milner in the Corvette. Oh, and trouble. Slow Ferrari on the track. This is the 71 machine. Here comes the Porsche. Estre down the stretch. Past the WEC pits, down into Sunset Bend. He's got the inside line. He's made the move. Milner's trying to move over to intimidate, to deny him a good racing line, but he will not be denied. Milner sitting around the outside. The wall is beckoning on the exit. He does not sit there for long. He can't afford to, and Porsche have the lead in GTE Pro, and that is a big blow. Prema, meanwhile, under pressure for the lead in LMP2 from the 23 United Autosports car. In the pit lane is the number 8 Toyota. Now, they had to do a 5-second fuel splash while the pit lane was officially closed behind the safety car. They were running out of gas in LMP2. Tough battles in traffic. There's the Corvette getting a little nudge from the WRT car. And here is the lead battle in P2. Louis Delatraz ahead of Paul Di Resta. So Di Resta in a one-off drive for the team. Their regular full-season third driver not able to compete as he's keeping himself, or the team are keeping him, ready for the Sebring 12 Hours the next day. And the Corvette under pressure now for second place. So the tyre strategy working well here for Porsche. During the red flag, you're not allowed to fuel, change the car, change tyres or any of that nonsense. None of the things that happen in Formula One. So that has brought Corvette right back towards the Porsches, having built an early advantage. 71 making it back in. Electronic problems or fuel problems. Here's the restart. Ryan Briscoe passing the Corvette before the line. And that is a penalty. In US racing, as you go green, you can pass anywhere. In World Endurance, you can only pass after the start-finish line. So a mistake there by the Glickenhaus driver, and that will cost them a penalty. Charles Malaysi has taken over the number 1 car from Sébastien Ogier. How did the rallyman find it?
I have to say I struggled a bit. Didn't manage to find really the reason with the car. A lot of issue with brakes and with balance. So yeah, I didn't have a clean run I wanted to have, but that's the way it is, and that's, I guess, some kind of learning.
Battle for second in GTE AM. Christian Reed, the only man to have started every single World Endurance race, with Florian Latour in the bright blue Aston behind. Couple of LMP2 cars could clear the pitch here for Christian Reed. Yes, look, Latour following the Jota car through on the inside, picks up a little bit of a slipstream, a couple of miles an hour better top speed. Down the inside he comes for second place. Florian Latour, his first drive in the car, moves up into second in GTE AM. And Christian Reed, the veteran in the field. It all started here out of 16. The white and black LMP2 car just giving Christian Reed a nudge. That's Mike Rockenfeller. Christian Reed under pressure now from Ollie Milroy in the 56 Project One Inception Racing car. Milroy breezing straight by up to third place. And that's the difference between a fresher set of rubber and a pro driver in the car. And Christian Reed doing his job to keep the pace up as he completes his 2 hours and 20 minutes, which is the minimum drive time for the drivers in the GTE AM and LMP2 category. And Reed, a little half spin there as the 83 AF Corsa car goes past him. No damage done. Ooh, the Glickenhaus comes by. In the pit lane, Porsche with tyre change and driver change going on. 91 car is in, looks like left sides only. And meanwhile, the Corvette starting to work its way up the order, puts in a move for third place on the 51 Ferrari. And that safety car and red flag has brought Ferrari back into it. It's given them about a minute back on the rest of the GTE Pro field. So here is the move around the outside. Nick Tandy knows this track very well indeed. He spent the last 4 or 5 years racing in the IMSA series in North America. Battle for now second place as Prema pits in LMP2. And this is Real Team, the white and blue machine. Norman Nato, René Rast for WRT, the red and white machine behind him. Both cars run by the Belgian outfit, WRT. It's the battle for second place. Rast on the bumps on the inside, being super brave here. Norman Nato around on the racing line on the outside, just hanging on. Norman Nato, very experienced driver in prototypes. And René Rast, of course, a superb GT racer, now turning his hand very successfully to P2. Battle here with the number 9 car. This is Prema making their debut in the World Endurance Championship this season. Prema super successful in single-seater racing and have had many Ferrari driver academy drivers pass through their hands. They're here clearly not just to try and win races, but to learn and position themselves ahead of AF Corsa for when Ferrari wants someone to run their hypercar program next year. And here is the move for 5th place. Young Lorenzo Colombo in his World Endurance Championship debut. That's a mature move. Goes by Roberto Gonzalez. Gonzalez saw the writing was on the wall and did the right thing. Just let him go. Again, an all-Jota battle just outside the podium positions. Roberto Gonzalez and Jonathan Aberdeen, his new teammate, on equally worn tyres, but Aberdeen has been reeling in the Mexican, and he is waved by. Good work from Aberdeen, moving up from the European Le Mans series, where he's raced for the last couple of years. Race leader in the pits, and Alpine continuing to build their advantage over Toyota. That red flag stoppage has definitely helped them. It's robbed Toyota potentially of the time to make use of their fuel advantage at the end of the race. So it is about pace now. And right now the Alpine has the pace. What about Glickenhaus?
11 laps to go after this. 11 laps to go. Your pace is good. Your pace is good.
Last lap was good for P1 for the race.
Corvette have been playing the long game here at Sebring right from the start, but their big advantage over the Porsches was wiped out by the red flag and safety car. Now Porsche 1-2, but Corvette still on pace, perhaps to use that tyre advantage later in the race. And as for Ferrari, well, a problem for the 52 car has dropped it way out of contention. 3 laps back. They are not having a happy first race. Look at this, hopping way out wide. That's far too close to the tyres for comfort. In the pits, the Corvette and the 51 Ferrari. Number 9 Prema car, one of the Jota cars as well. And 23 in from the lead. Ollie Jarvis stays aboard the United Autosports car as WRT cycle back to the top. Not everybody on quite the same fuel strategy. Everybody having to work out what that lost half an hour of red flag running will mean. Rennie Rest out of WRT's machine, and in will get Robin Freins. New lineup to the team, Freins, Rast and Sean Gillale. Ollie Jarvis back into the lead in the 23 United Autosports car. This is the car that was doing all the chasing up until the red flag, but that negated the advantage that the 22 car had over them, and 22 is now struggling. 91 Porsche into the pit lane, and this is where the fuel stops will potentially help to cycle the Corvette right back through to the top. Tyre change as well for the 91 car. Away they go. Well, there was a long pit stop for the 91 Porsche, and here is why. Look at the sparks flying there. Took 20 seconds to change that left rear wheel. 92 stops. Driver change, Michael Christensen taking over from Kevin Escher. Alpine still out front from Toyota and Glickenhaus into the final 2 hours of the race. Heading towards dusk, wind starting to pick up. There is a threat of rain in the air. There was torrential rain in the final hour last time we were here in 2019. Might that come again?
Course yellow, full course yellow.
That is a Porsche door mirror sitting in the road, and while that's recovered, full course yellow allows those who are near the pits to make a fuel stop. Out goes the 92 Porsche. Have they just topped up? They were only just in the pit lane. There have been a lot of top-ups. 23 United comes in, 22 heads out. Going to be a driver change there at United Autosports as well. Setting our stall out now for the last segment of the race. An hour and 45 minutes, 2 fuel stops potentially. Brendan Iribe in the Inception racing car. Now that's where the door mirror came from, and they have not got a door ready to go on to replace it. Clearly the team are not going to waste time on pit road with that. Whether the stewards think that's a good idea or not, we'll wait to see.
Okay, Glickenhaus has boxed now. Glickenhaus has fitted.
Yeah, let me know if it's going to be a big fight with them or not.
Yeah, we'll get rid of the splash at the end, so we'll be able to do this stint and one more stint, so it should be okay.
Full course yellow removed. Thank you.
Well, astonishing conversation at Toyota. No interest whatsoever in what's happening with Alpine. They have given that up as a lost fight. It's only about whether they can take second ahead of Glickenhaus. Goodness me, the balance of performance changes are really biting here. And part of that is how the hybrid power is deployed. And that has cost Toyota. It'll be less of an issue when we get to Spa the next round, and definitely at Le Mans, but here it has hurt them. Well, Mathieu Vazivière in the Alpine, second car in the shot here, about to put a lap on Romain Dumas. And that is the car that currently runs in third. They're chasing the number 8 Toyota. Alpine chasing victory at the season opener. Skies are getting darker overhead. The wind is picking up. Storms are on their way. It was forecast to rain before the end of the race. Let's see how that puts a cat among the pigeons. Look at the racetrack here. It is concrete, the old Air Force Base. A third of the track is concrete. When it rains, that is sheet ice.
Tommy, just to give you a heads up on the strategy here, we're looking to double these tires. At 91 will be able to overcut us, so they could get a 2-lap overcut. So we think just not changing tires is probably going to be our best way to hold the gap.
Tyre strategy, always a key element, and oh, now there you go. The question is, will we need wets?
At the moment we have one full set left. I would say we will probably change the left side, so you can work the left side. We want to run long in this stint, chance of rain later.
Chance of rain, absolutely. You could see it was actually raining in the distance, and that is heading towards the circuit. Now, there's been a penalty applied to this pit stop for the Glickenhaus team as Livio Pla handed over to Romain Dumas. At the right rear, there was a man coming round for the tyres while the fuel was still on, and that is illegal. Oh dear. Well, like with the penalty for the restart, it's these small errors that are going to make the difference. Well, these things happen. And they're the team watching the replay. Ah, mea culpa. Well,
I see some rain very far. Don't you think it's gonna rain?
Yeah, there is risk. There is risk.
well, the drivers are seeing what the fans are seeing. Rain in the distance. That's towards the setting sun. It's the east. And the easterly, southeasterly winds are what bring the weather from the Gulf of Mexico.
Finishing the podium, which is good. I mean, we were very tough in the prologue, but now we recover a little bit of pace. Still not enough, but I think this is how it is. And in the end of the day, I think we are doing a great job, apart of our car. But I think this is how it is in the season.
It'll be a tough race and a tough season potentially for Toyota. Safety car has been released by the race director. Now that's interesting. We haven't seen any incidents, and it is not raining yet. So the safety car has been scrambled.
Radio check. Copy. Gaia. Yeah, like my radio plug. Rattles loose sometimes. Definitely check the radar. This is definitely rain. Down by 17. Copy.
So rain is close. Safety car is on standby. Red flags are thrown. Well, you can see the storm in the distance, and the radar shows a big electrical storm on its way, and that is a local regulation here in Florida.
The race is now resumed behind the safety car. A green flag, the race is now resumed behind the safety car.
Well, the danger of lightning seems to have abated, and the race getting ready to get picked up with just under 45 minutes to go. They'll start behind the safety car. Rain is definitely on its way. Will it reach the track before the checkered flag is thrown? And if it does, dare anybody stop for wets? There are now no intermediates in LMP2. It is slicks or wets. So you are fully committed. Topping up with fuel for the final run to the flag, WRT. This is a good strategy if it means they will not have to splash at the end. And they're not alone in this. Everybody coming in behind the safety car. Now, as long as the pit lane was open, that is a legal move. So a handful of cars. Red flag. Before we even get going again, the red flag is thrown once more, and this time the electrical storm is very close indeed. They need to bring the marshals in, they need to bring the cameramen down from the towers. This is a local regulation, and that's why lightning strikes are not far away. And I'm not sure that we're going to be able to restart this race. It'll take, well, the better part of half an hour to get everybody back out on station before we can start. I think time is against us, and so is the weather. Wouldn't be the first race to be ended by the weather in the World Endurance Championship, may not be the last. And as the rain descends and darkness comes with it, it is official. The race is over. It is victory for Alpine. Toyota taking second in hypercar ahead of Glickenhaus. The chase is over.
This red flag, especially in the end, was not really great for us, but we were fortunate that the race didn't restart. But I want to say thank you to the boys. You know, they were working really hard this winter to make this car. Last year was the first year in this category for the team, but this year we really feel that we made a huge step forward and we are ready to fight, and this first win is really great for us.
A first win for Alpine, the first win in the hypercar category that has not gone to Toyota Gazoo Racing, as they won all the races last season. They take second, Glickenhaus third, but a first victory in hypercar for Alpine. Porsche with two cars on the GTE Pro podium, third and first, separated by Corvette Racing.
It was really a weird feeling because we knew we are not gonna finish it on fuel, you know, from the first red flag, and the rain was gonna come. You know, if somebody would have gambled on red flag, not pitted for wet, and we pit for wet, so we could lose the race in you know, very quickly. So this was our thoughts. So we were a bit scared of that, but in the end, yeah, we stayed where we were. But before the red flag, we had 35-second gap. So I believe we deserve this victory.
Ferrari fourth and fifth, second in the standings, but Porsche have the manufacturer's lead. In LMP2, victory went to the 23 United Autosports team, and in GTE AM, Northwest AMR came out on top 2 years since their last win. Confirmation of the result: Alpine, Toyota and Glickenhaus in hypercar, United WRT and Real Team the podium in LMP2, with AF Corsa winning in Pro-Am. Porsche, Corvette and Porsche the dominant forces in GTE Pro. Northwest AMR ahead of AF Corsa and TF Sport, the GTE AM podium. And that is it. Lots of work to do for the number 7 Toyota Gazoo Racing team when we reconvene in 6 weeks' time at the awesome Spa-Francorchamps.